mic already. Sorry. All right. Thanks for coming, everyone. We have a group of people today scheduled to talk to you about the upcoming weather that's predicted to hit the Pikes Peak region this weekend. And we'll get started here with Greg from the National Weather Service in Pueblo.
Good morning, all. My name is Greg Hevener. I'm the Warning Coordination Meteorologist with Weather Service Office in Pueblo, Colorado. Welcome to March in Colorado. We have a big potential storm impact in the region, expected mostly Friday through Sunday time period. Now, across the Pikes Peak region, the conditions are going to vary greatly based on the track of the storm. If it moves too far north, much of the Pikes Peak region and areas farther south and east, expecting mostly a warmer rain, mixing of snow, and then places farther north and west of where that low tracks, heavier snow is expected. So again, highly volatile system, highly variable even across El Paso County in specific. The storm takes more of a southern track to it, then much more of the region will experience a lot more heavy snow. Again, and when the snow comes down on Friday, it's expected to be a very, very heavy snow, very, very wet, sticking to trees, power lines, so on and so forth too. And as it begins to move off, depending on exactly where it tracks, how much snow we receive, begins to move off to the east and northeast, we're going to have some pretty strong northerly winds, which could produce near whiteout conditions across some of the Pikes Peak region. So basically, if you draw a line from, say, El Paso County, right on the county border, and go west out towards the Continental Divide, those are the areas right now expected to have the highest impacts from the heaviest snows, as well as the strongest winds with this system. And then again, farther south and east towards Pueblo, and then out towards the Great Plains, again, more of a rain condition for them too. And actually even out in the far eastern plains, out in Prowers, and even in parts of Baca County, could even see some severe thunderstorms with lots of cloud-to-ground lightning and even some large hail possible Friday night into Saturday morning. So again, a very, very complex storm system. The track is still undetermined at this time. And again, farther north means more rain for us here in the Pikes Peak region, and that snow line begins to shift more to the northwest. Farther south, much of the region could receive a very, very heavy wet snow Friday night through Sunday afternoon. With that being said, though, across the Pikes Peak region, forecasted snowfall amounts could range greatly from, say, out in Yoder to a couple inches up to Monument, where possibly 18 to 2 feet of snow is potential. So again, across a 30-mile corridor across one county, you're going to have a huge amount of variability when it comes to the amount of snowfall expected, and therefore the impact as well too. And again, that could lead into issues with possibly, again, the weighting of heavy snow on the power lines and branches, maybe bringing some of those down as the winds pick up. Again, more so Saturday night through Sunday itself, and again, leading to those near whiteout conditions. So again, bottom line is, be prepared for a potentially high impact, significant snowfall amount and snow impact across Pikes Peak region Friday night through Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Reed. I'm the director of the Pikes Peak Regional Office of Emergency Management. What we're going to do as an office is activate this weekend so we can monitor the storm. We're coordinating with all our partners within the region, departments of transportation, law enforcement, fire departments. We're putting all that team together. We'll be here monitoring the storm as things go on. A couple things I want to pass on to you. I know we talk about preparedness all the time, and it's real important. So I'll take this opportunity to do that again. If you don't need to be out, we'd ask that you not be out. But if you have to be out, then make sure that you have your preparedness kit in your vehicle, blankets, food, water, a way to communicate to folks. That's real important. If you are home and you can't get out, make sure your home preparedness kit is set up. Make sure you have food, medications. Watch out for your animals. If we have blowing wind, the wind chill factor could be fairly low. So take care of your livestock and your animals. Watch over your family. And just be prepared to stay down for a day or two. The other thing I would ask you to do is have a communications plan. Many of our folks, when they get stuck, they want to know where mom and dad is, where's my son, where's my daughter, where are they at. Make sure that you have a way to communicate and everybody understands how that works. We want to make sure that you know where your loved ones are at. And if you do get stuck, try to give us a good idea of where you're at as close as you can so that we can come and assist you. And that's pretty much all I have. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Maston. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Public Works at El Paso County. Our crews have been preparing for the last 48 hours for this snow event. We currently have vehicles out now that are pre-treating roads. If you see the white lines on the road, it's a salt brine solution that we use that will help with the removal of snow as we progress through this storm, removal of snow and ice. We expect to have at least 34 snowplows available. 18 graders. Those 18 graders will be covering around 1,100 miles of gravel road in our county. The 34 snowplows will be covering the paved surfaces in our county, and those 34 snowplows will be covering 42 snow areas that we have here. In addition to that, we will have approximately 4 to 6 half-ton vehicles with snowplows on them to go around to manage trouble spots in the community. In addition, we will have front-end loaders as well to help move snow in those high-impact areas if required. We expect to have blades down on our equipment at around midnight on Friday night based off the forecast. If that forecast moves forward, we'll get vehicles out earlier than that, but we will have people out on the roads, have our crews out there removing snow as soon as as soon as the snow starts hitting the ground. Let's see, our priorities for removing snow are priority 1 roads. The roads are your major arterials. Examples of this would be like Woodman Road, Black Forest Road, Hodgen, roads like that, Meridian, anything that is a major arterial in the community, in the county. The reason we do this is to make sure we have access for any emergency responders that need to get into areas throughout our community. Once we have our priority 1 roads taken care of, we'll move on to our priority 2 roads, and these are the collector roads that allow people to get onto the priority 1 roads. Once the priority 1s and priority 2s are taken care of, we will then eventually work into the residential communities, the neighborhoods. And for those of you that do live in a neighborhood, I'm going to ask you to please be patient. Please be very patient with our crews getting in there. If the snow event is as predicted, it's going to take us a while to get in there. So I'm just asking please to be patient if you do live in a neighborhood. I do want to reiterate what Jim Reed said regarding safety. In addition to that, well, kind of adding on to what Jim said, I'm going to ask everybody to please slow down. Do not follow our vehicles too closely. If you see a vehicle that is doing snow removal, please keep a safe distance behind that vehicle. Do not attempt to pass. The most dangerous thing you can do in an event like this regarding a snowplow is attempt to pass that snowplow. There's a lot of debris and snow coming off the left side of the blade that will obstruct your ability to see any oncoming traffic, and you could put yourself in a very dangerous situation. I'm also going to ask you that if you are in front of a snowplow, to one of 2 things: either just get off the road, let the snowplow by, or just make sure, again, you're keeping a safe distance between yourself and that snowplow. I just want to foot stomp what Jim said. If you don't have to go out, just please stay home. If you do have to go out and do something, please make sure you have the proper equipment on your vehicle: cell phones, chargers, waters, blankets, all the things that Jim said. I just can't reiterate that enough. The last thing we want to see is we don't want to lose a citizen out here as a result of this snow event. We want you to be safe. We want you to be able to stay home, and please give our crews the ability to get out and get the snow off the road so that when this storm does clear, you can safely go out and get back to your jobs, get out shopping, and do all the things you'd normally want to do. And that's all I have for right now, pending any questions. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jack Ladley. I'm the Operations Manager for the City of Colorado Springs Public Works Operations and Maintenance Division. Much like the county, we've spent the last 48 hours getting prepared for this event. We currently have a full hookup of all of our snow and ice control equipment as of close of business yesterday. That's 40 heavy trucks, 15 4x4s with sanders and plows on them, 3 motor graders, 5 front end loaders. That's 1 loader mounted snow blower as well, and then 5 tractor trailer end dumps. The reason I bring up the tractor trailer end dumps is if this storm comes in as anticipated, we may end up needing to haul snow from locations. We've identified and prepared snow dump locations should the need arise. And those locations include areas like downtown. As you know, we just simply don't have the capacity to move snow curb to curb downtown and still allow parking. So if it were to get bad enough, that may be a location where we have to literally go in and haul snow off, hence the 5 tractor trailer end dumps. In addition to our preparations, we have fleet maintenance, which is going to provide us a couple of field crews as well. As we roll into this event, I anticipate us running 24/7 until the event's completely cleaned up. And that means that our trucks are running nonstop 24 hours a day. And when they do that, we're going to have breakdowns. And so it's really good to have fleet with us on this one and ready to engage should we have problems. I'd like to go over some expectations. Snow and ice control teams are currently in standby status and ready to roll at the first sign of precipitation. And again, they'll work 24/7 until we get this storm cleaned up. As always, just like the county, our focus is going to be on our primary roadways on the onset of this storm. If this becomes a level 4 event, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but level 4 event is just we're getting it handed to us and we can't keep all the roads open. We'll narrow our focus down to our emergency routes. And our emergency route is essentially a concentrated figure 8 that allows emergency responders and access to our hospitals. So again, in the worst case scenario, we would shrink our operations down to cover that. We've not had to do that before. And the way this storm is tracking right now, I'm hoping that that doesn't happen with this event either. We're also prepared to team with PD and FD in task forces. And what we do in those situations is we'll have a plow assigned to a PD/FD task force. And if there's an emergency response situation, our plow will be in with that group and we'll respond accordingly with an effort to get them to that location. And again, make no mistake, if this storm comes in as heavy as anticipated and the associated winds, it's going to take us some time to get the roadways cleaned up. As in previous events of this magnitude, our operators are going to have their hands full to include working around obstacles such as abandoned vehicles and things like that. And so what I'm looking for is patience, patience from our citizens, from our commuters, and just understand that we're going to be out there 24/7 working this. Again, our focus is going to be on our primary and secondary routes. Once we have those opened up, we'll move into those heavily impacted residential areas. The truth of the matter is, with this event, that could be every residential area in the city. And so it's going to take us a while to get there. Once we do get there, this is where it gets tricky. By the time we make it into residential areas, many folks will already have their driveways shoveled, their sidewalks shoveled, things of that nature, and then we're going to come in with big plows and we're going to pack those back in. And you can imagine the reception we get when we do that. It's not always positive, but it's something that we're going to need to do in order to get these roadways opened up. We're committed to it and we're going to do it. I think finally I want to reemphasize that this event will likely end up with blowing and drifting snow. It's going to significantly reduce visibilities and it's going to be difficult, if not impossible, travel at times. I'm urging residents to hunker down, stay home if you can, travel only if absolutely necessary. It just simply isn't worth the risk. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Travis Deal, Chief Operations Officer for Colorado Springs Utilities. So following all of this, we've had a lot of work really in preparation for this storm that's going to impact us. We're just trying to figure out what size. Of course, the safety of our employees at Colorado Springs Utilities as well as our customers is always the utmost importance to us. Really with that, with the talk about heavy snow and wind, that really comes with power line outages. So with that, we want to make sure, keeping with the safety message, is if you have a power outage or experience that, please make sure you're staying away from any downlines. Go out, take a look at your mast if you have overhead coming into your home to make sure that is not damaged at that point. So if you see our crews out, know that they are working, and odds are they're in an area that is not stable or capable of foot traffic or pedestrian access. So please, stay clear of those crews if you see them working for your safety as well as theirs. Also, with the amount of snow that could possibly be hitting us is your gas regulators. So everybody has gas meters on their homes that has gas service. So if you are out there and you see large amounts of snow built up around there, be very careful, or use a shovel or anything else to clear that. Use your hands. If you hit that, you could cause your own gas outage and actually, start evaporating gas out into the atmosphere. So all those things are very important. If you have anything that's down, please reach out 448-4800. That's our dispatch. It's a 24/7 operations. So our crews are always available to respond and will respond in the most timely manner possible. Our crews train for this. They're very prepared for this. We have all the equipment, everything we need to respond to anything our customers may see, whether it's electric, gas, water, or wastewater events. Just want to make sure that electrical safety is always really big with these type of events. If you have lines down, please make sure you do not approach or touch those in any way, shape, or form. So, and also talk about driving. Our crews a lot of times are on roadways, so they're going to be on the shoulders of the road. So please be very slow when you're coming by there. You could slide in to our crews and, of course, cause injury to yourself as well as them. So please very careful when you're out and traveling. And that's all I got at this time. Thank you very much. Any questions, I'll be open. So.
That's good. Good morning, City Forester Dennis Will. I work for City of Colorado Springs Parks and Rec. City Forestry is in charge of 300,000 street trees and 50,000 park trees, all of which are going to be targets for this weekend's snowstorm. So I would like to offer one slight ray of hope, is that because of the seasonality of the storm, luckily the trees don't have leaves on them right now. So the hope is that the snow will pass through the trees without all the surface area of the leaves to contend with, and it will leave the trees alone. The other ray of hope might be that the wind would be strong enough to blow the snow out of the trees, but not so strong that it would begin to break the trees apart. So those two things I'm hopeful for. But if those two things do not come to pass, there's a couple of things I'd like to talk about. If the citizens have trees that are being broken apart in their yard, we ask that you ascertain one of two things. Is it a private tree or is it a public tree? The public trees are defined by those trees that normally exist in the right-of-way between the sidewalk and the curb and gutter. Typically, that's a city-owned tree. If it is an attached sidewalk to the curb, typically the right-of-way goes inside the yard anywhere from 3 to 5 feet, depending on the location of the address within the city. So when folks begin to determine that they have tree issues, the first thing they got to do, is it my tree or is it owned by the city? If it's owned by the city, we'll respond as quickly as we can. We'll have about 10 of our ISA certified arborists on staff beginning Saturday morning at 6:30. And if the storm continues, we'll also be staffed on Sunday as well. But as you can imagine, out of that 300,000 street trees, it will take time for us to respond. The best way for citizens to request help from City Forestry is to go online to the website that's called GoCOS. And at that website, you'll be able to fill out a form that says, I need assistance as a street tree that's causing problems. It's fell on my car, it's fell in the driveway, it's fell into the street. We'll respond as quickly as we can. We'll also have staff in the office that will be reviewing those reports online to see which are the highest priorities. And of course, the highest priorities are going to be those trees that lie in the roadway that might impede first responders. And so those are going to be our number one priorities as well. If the tree is impacting power lines, then you need to call CSU. That's that number that was just given out. I got to check my notes here, 448-4800. So if you're not able to get online to report it that way, then the last ditch effort for the citizens would be to call the City Forestry's front desk number, 385-5942. But I give you extreme caution. When you leave a message at that number, it may take days. And during the last storm that we had like this, it took months for us to get that voicemail off of our machine because we got so many calls, it completely overloaded the system, and we had to get IT involved to help us out. So, again, go to the website called GO, C-O-S, and we'll respond much quicker than leaving a voicemail. So a word of caution, if you go outside and you can tell that the trees are heavily laden with this wet snow and you hear cracking sounds, don't walk underneath the trees. Don't park underneath the trees. Find a safe place to maneuver about as you go about your daily activities. So that's it.
Thank you. All right, now we'll open it up to questions, and Natalie has the mic.
Bill Folsom with Channel 5. I'm hearing words like could and possible, but with that, and I don't know if there's a way, if this is Jim or the Weather Service or maybe both, when are we going to know more about when this storm track is going to be big, or is it going to be as it's happening? Then part two of that is I'm hearing those words, we have clear skies today, we're talking more than 24 hours out. Should the community take a cue from that and saying, we're getting prepared because it's a maybe, maybe not, you should be doing the same, rather than like what happened with the bomb cyclone, people knew it was coming, but they waited too long?
Yeah, so to basically answer your first question, I mean, as the system begins to evolve, it's actually moving basically on the coast now out in the California area. So it still has time to evolve as it moves basically from west to east towards, Colorado. Really, every 12 hours, we're getting new data in that basically tracks positioning and forecast positioning of the low itself that's going to provide the heavy wet snows and the stronger winds, even the thunderstorms again out east. So we're constantly assessing it. We're 24/7 there. We're looking at the data, we're making tweaks here and there, and that's again what the great variability across El Paso County in general is going to be. It's based on that track. So, today we got better guidance, started to kind of hone in a little bit more on positioning. It comes Sunday morning where that's going to be. Tomorrow we'll even have higher confidence in terms of positioning of that low pressure as well too, to provide those better numbers, total snowfall and impacts across the area. Much like we had almost 2 years ago, this is kind of jogs people's memory. March 13th of 2019, we had this historic storm across this area. So we're kind of pegging for that same time period. Early mid-March is relatively volatile when it comes to weather here in eastern Colorado. Nothing like the magnitude of that, though. The storm is not going to produce winds as strong as that and blizzards as bad as that was. That being said, though, we do expect blizzard conditions to occur across parts of the Pikes Peak region Saturday night through Sunday morning, too. Preceding the 2019 storm, we had temperatures in the 70s with fire weather issues south and east of our area, too. So that's how Colorado just rolls this time of the year. It's deceiving, but preparing now for potential high-impact storm this weekend is the best you can do.
Is it true that, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 30 miles could make a big difference in this? I mean, what's the margin on that? 15 miles north or south, could that make a big change, especially with the Palmer Divide?
Huge implications. Really, I mean, if this low moves, 5-10 miles north of where we're expected to be Sunday morning, as of now, Sunday morning time period, that can produce mostly a rain across Colorado Springs, and then basically the hills, Palmer Divide and farther northwest towards the Academy could get the most snow out of it. That's still expected no matter what, no matter kind of where that low tracks. But the farther south that it goes, 5 or 10 miles, means a bigger impact with heavy wet snow across Colorado Springs proper too. So yes, it is going to be it's literally a knife's edge at this point in time where that low is going to track and who gets how much snow and greater impacts versus lesser impacts.
I don't know if this is for Jack or the county, but I know the bomb cyclone, we had drivers stranded on Voyager and several major roads. Is there a plan in place to maybe help those drivers, or what would you kind of advise? I know obviously staying home, but for the people that do have to go out, we did see those big, numbers of people that were stranded for long periods of time.
Sure. So the first plan is talking to you to get that information out. So thank you for all of you being here and getting the information out to our citizens that this would be an unsafe event for them over this weekend. Keep in mind your office of Pikes Peak Regional Office of Emergency Management, we're coordinated with Department of Transportation, both city and county. We're working with the State Department of Transportation. We'll have law enforcement, even law enforcement from Monument City, county, state. We'll have all those folks here to coordinate if we have to do a rescue and take care of folks that get stranded on the road. So the first step is getting the word out to you. The second step is us preparing as we put the team together. We're going to call it tonight, and Saturday we'll probably be in this office, in this room that you're in today, and we'll start prepping and just kind of wait and see what comes our way. Because as Greg said, the weather can change. You know, we could get here Saturday and nothing, you know, not a whole lot comes Sunday afternoon, or we could get here Saturday and then just be knee deep in snow. So the important thing is we're prepared. We have great coordination, even with the utility companies. I mean, if you could see the operation in here, you'd see cooperation within the region that's amazing. And so we're here for you, and that's where we're at.
Do you guys have any specialized equipment to handle deep snow? What specifically will you use for that?
For deep snow, what equipment do we use for deep snow?
And I'd like to invite Kevin up as well when I'm done, and he can talk to what the county has. For us, we've got a single grader with a large V plow on it, where we can open up drifted areas. We also have I mentioned it earlier, a front end loader mounted snow blower. So I want you to imagine the snow blower that you use at your house, upsized about 10 times. And so we have that capacity as well. But in terms of getting through large drifts, things like that, it's a fairly limited capacity. And so we're really going to rely on our heavy trucks to keep those roadways open for us where we can. It does become problematic when we start getting cars stuck in locations. And I think one of you mentioned it earlier. During the bomb cyclone, Royal Pine is a good example of where it took 2 cars getting stuck, and then suddenly the winds were blowing, and next thing you knew, it was completely packed in. That becomes a real problem for us, and all the equipment in the world isn't going to help us with that. It's just a matter of getting those cars out of the way when we can, and then going through and opening up those roads. Kevin, I'll let you talk to what the county has.
Thank you, Jack. Hey, we basically have the same equipment that the county has, everything that Jack just described. I do think that one of the most impressive pieces of equipment that we do have for deep snow is this basically snow blower on steroids, for lack of better words. We do have V-plows for our graders as well to punch through drifts, things like that. Kind of backing up to a second here too, about the questions about vehicles, I will tell you none of our drivers, none of Jack's drivers will ever leave a driver stranded on the side of the road. From the county's perspective, we're not going to, we cannot tow a vehicle out of the ditch to get a citizen going again, but all of our drivers will stop and check to make sure that a citizen in their vehicle has everything that they need to be safe in their vehicle, and if not, the driver will stay there with them. The only caveat to that is that if we do have a situation, which Jack mentioned, if we have vehicles that are blocking major arterials, our drivers are authorized, we'll coordinate with the sheriff's department and get approval, but we are authorized to move those vehicles out of the way to get traffic flowing again, to ensure that emergency responders can respond to any situation that's out there. So any follow-up question on that? Okay, all right, thank you.
One other thing to add for the equipment, Colorado Springs Utilities actually have several snowcats that we actually use for operations to be able to get to power outages and down lines. We also support the county and the city, with emergency response utilizing those snowcats as well. So we have operators trained to operate those. So when you get into the drifts, those types of things, we do have the equipment to still be able to help support, getting our electric grid back up.
I have to ask, how, if any, is the pandemic affecting any of this response?
Jim, do you want to take that one?
Okay, thanks. The pandemic, it's not. I mean, we have to wear masks, keep our social distancing, and take care of that. But we will do that and still support our citizens during this event. So the only impact is our safety. We have to ensure of our safety. But we've been doing this now for 12 months? So I think everybody here is good at working operationally under the pandemic rules. And that's that. I do want to say this. If you've noticed, utilities, our Department of Transportation, city and county, our parks departments, if you notice, they're all working together. And this is what the regional OEM is all about, is bringing them all together to support our citizens. And if you see that, they know what each other has, and they know how to work with each other. And I think that was a good move by our elected officials to bring the two teams together into one. And it's been monumental for this community, and I think it was a very good thing to do, so.